I was 23 years old when I was called to help my family business. Very challenging time, life-changing experience for me. It shaped me into who I am today. I'm hoping that this is going to be a journey that you're going to embrace, you're going to love, you're going to be encouraged, to do the same things that I've done or do them better, hopefully. And I want to save you some time. I want to save you some heartache. So that's why I'm choosing to share this information. I'm going to disclose some things, not all things, because I want to protect those I love. I'm hoping that you will gain a lot from this experience. Walk with me. When I came home, it was 2 businesses that I needed to work with. And I didn't know that at first. One business was started in 1972. The other one was started in 1994. And I was a little bit lost because one was a nonprofit, one was a for-profit business. Here I am, 23 years old, don't know anything about running the business, but I had to learn the hard way. The hard way was digging into the numbers, trying to make sense of all of this. They didn't have an accounting system. That's the thing that was missing. I found it out very quickly because they were working with certified public accountant who would only do their books once a year. Just do the audits at the end of the year and then, just go through the bank statements, put together a P&L balance sheet, and that's how we get the taxes done. So that's not efficient because what are you doing all of the other 364 days of the year? Because that one day is tax day, but if you're not making decisions with your numbers for the other 364 days, what are you doing? Stop it. If you're not the person to put together these numbers and make sense of it, work with a professional. I'm a professional. I understand the value of working with a professional. I'm sure you do too, because you're a professional at what you do. So you want people to hire you because they can't do what you do well. I work with so many construction, because we focus on construction. So I work with so many construction owners who are very good at building houses. Well, I'm good at building reports, making sure that I'm giving them enough information to help them in their day-to-day operations. So I needed help when I was at the family business. I didn't have anyone to guide me. I didn't have anyone to mentor me. I had no one to pour into me. Here I am, 23 years old, being handed a $1.5 million operation. That's really, really big. It was huge. It was shocking that I'm put into this seat, but I welcome the challenge. I embraced the challenge. I felt for some reason that I was built for it. I knew all my life that I would be a business owner. I just didn't know when. I wasn't a business owner at that time. I am today. A lot of things that happened at the family business shaped me and molded me just through those experiences. I went to the school of hard knocks, all right, called life. Life can beat you up. Life can teach you very, very tough lessons. I walked through it. I made it, not unscathed. I got a lot of marks to show you, but I made it because I never stopped. I stayed persistent. And I hope that my journey continues to encourage you, continue to motivate you not to give up, and know that you do have someone here to help. Let's talk a little bit more.
So let's talk about the nonprofit organization first. That organization was the bread and butter. It brought in most of the 1.5, actually all of it. When I think about it, it brought in all of it. All the $1.5 million that organization was bringing in to run the operation. When we discovered that there was no bookkeeping, no one entering in the daily transactions, no one talking with a bookkeeper once a week to say where we are. The board couldn't make great decisions because when you have a nonprofit organization, you have a board of directors. And the directors are the ones who should be guiding the organization, should be bringing in the money, helping you to obtain more resources for your mission. We didn't have an operating board either when I first got there. That board was just a couple people who I guess the family decided that they were friends or family members and someone they can trust. So they put them on the board. But when you have a nonprofit organization, one thing you need to keep in mind is that board responsibility is to bring in money or pour in money to the organization. So if they don't have the resources to bring in money from outside, fundraisers, or able to recruit people to pour in money to the organization, they're not doing their job. You need to see how important it is, especially with a nonprofit, to have your finances in order, because funders want to see where their money is going. So we was receiving federal funding, we were receiving state funding, we were getting funding from different local organizations, and they wanted to see our numbers. They wanted to see, where is this money going? How do I know the $20,000 that I donated last year actually did something for the community? I had no way of being able to present that to them. To me, it was shocking, because the business has been around for 37 years, and I didn't even know how we even got to 1.5. I guess someone really liked us or liked my family. But going out, or at least putting my name on this business or this organization, saying that I'm leading it, I didn't feel comfortable going out asking people for money, and I couldn't show them where their money was going. So I quickly learned that something needed to change immediately. And that was, we needed to get this bookkeeping thing under control. We needed to get these accounting controls in place. We needed to get everybody on board with making this happen. So one thing that we did was we got QuickBooks. And then when you're a nonprofit organization, you didn't have to worry about spending a bunch of money trying to get the software, because there was this website called TechSoup.org. It may still be around, where nonprofit organizations can get software, any type of tech application, at a discount. And so that's what we did. We got QuickBooks, and then I got my degree in finance. So I was an accountant by trade. I didn't go to school for accounting. I took accounting classes, but my degree was in finance. So therefore, I had to learn QuickBooks. I had to learn all the accounting rules and principles and how to apply them. I took a class. I took multiple classes. I studied. I read books. I read a ton of books. I still read a ton of books today. If you're not reading books, to me, you're not growing as a leader. To me, you can't lead an organization unless you're reading. That's just a little nugget I want to put out there. But I've learned how to, do the bookkeeping myself. I learned what the funders were looking for, and I started to structure my chart of accounts. It's a very technical term, and I'm not trying to stay too technical on this recording here, but you had to structure the chart of accounts in a way that you can show funders what you're doing with the money, and you can give them a breakdown of where their money went, different from someone else's money who donated, someone else who donated money to the organization. So essentially, you had to create a P&L, a profit and loss statement, for every single funder, which is very, very challenging. I quickly found out that nonprofit accounting is a very specialized accounting, just like construction accounting, just like manufacturing accounting. These are all specialties, and I've had to learn that special type of accounting. So if you are a nonprofit organization and you don't have a nonprofit accountant working with you, more than likely, you're not doing what you need to do to structure your finances in a way to receive more funding from funders outside of your community. You need to work with a professional. So we didn't have that money to work with a professional nonprofit accountant. I had to become that person, because in the process of learning how and, just learning what we need to do to keep this business operating and moving, I've learned that you need to put time in, and I needed to think about other things in the business. I need to think about, what is payroll like? What type of benefits are we offering? Can we afford it? And I quickly found out that we couldn't. That's so challenging, because once I started to put the numbers together, I started to find out, hey, the money that we're spending here is actually money that we need to be spending over here. But we were really robbing Peter to pay Paul.
We were taking money from other funders to take care of something that was not funded by that funder. So challenging, so difficult. I remember being nervous because I was wondering, like, hey, if a funder comes in and audit me, or if the federal government comes in and audit, or the state government comes in and audit, what would they say? Will we lose our funding? Will we be penalized? Will there be more money to pour out that we didn't have? It was scary. It was scary. Very, very scary. So I had to bring this to the board's attention and say, hey, we need to do something different. We need to make some cuts. Still kind of feel that, making cuts is never, never, never easy. Never. I'm telling you, I'm so thankful and glad that I don't have to make cuts right now, because I've done that for 6 years. Well, this G+F has been around 9 years, but 6 years I've ran the nonprofit organization, and I had to find a way to meet a $80,000 payroll expense every single month. $80,000. Payroll was taking up 70% of our revenue. 70. I'm here to let you know that that's very, very high. Payroll expenses should take up no more than 30% of revenue. So we had no room for error, no room at all. And I remember the day that I had to tell the board that we have to close down a location. We had 3 locations. I said we had to close down one of these locations. That was 9 employees that we had to get rid of. And I said, how do we do this? Because I want to make sure that they know that I'm just not picking on one person. I don't like this person, or this. Like, how do you do that? I'm such a young man, and everyone who worked for me was old enough to be my aunt, my mother, my uncle, my father. I wanted to make sure they understood that this was an educated decision. This was not something that I just wanted to do because I didn't like the way they showed up late to work every day, or I didn't like that they were underperforming at their job. This was something that we had to do to save the other 28 employees that we had. Very, very difficult decision. And one thing that came to mind is I started talking. I said, I need to talk with some other people in the community. There was people that I started to trust, and I started to reach out for mentorship and let them know the problem I was having. And so when we talked about it, they said you first need to seek an employment law attorney. I needed to go hire this attorney to help me choose who to get rid of. So that's the first bit of advice that I could give you. If you're faced with downsizing, you first need to seek an attorney, because you could be, facing a discrimination case if you do it the wrong way. You could be facing some other types of lawsuits that could be, people can sue you for anything. Employees can sue you for anything. But you want to make sure you do it right, so that way they feel like it was a objective decision. And I talked with the attorney. We came up with this formula. Very, very cool, by the way. How they think about these things. They do these things every day. This is why I'm stressing the importance of really working with a professional, because attorneys that specialize in employment law, they have to help business owners make these decisions all the time. So it's nothing new, nothing that was uneasy for them. They were keeping me cool because I was nervous. And some of my family members who had to make the decision with me were also nervous. But we came up with a formula, and surprisingly, with that formula, I had to get rid of some employees that I actually wanted to keep. That was the difficult thing about it. You couldn't be biased. I had to get rid of people who I wanted to keep. I had to keep individuals who I didn't mind leaving. But that was to protect the company. And we offered a very, very small severance. And that's how we were able to make that decision. That's how we were able to save the business, essentially. Because if we didn't close down that location, if we didn't get rid of that electric bill over there, that water bill, those salaries from over there, we wouldn't wouldn't have lasted another year. It just couldn't happen. Very, very challenging, very difficult decision to make. I hope you never have to make that decision. Listen, I'm here to help. I know a lot of you are going through financial crisis. I know that you have experienced some of the things I've experienced. Share in the comments below. I want to help you. This community wants to help you. If you want to hear more of my story, stay tuned for the next chapter.